As you settle into your cozy space, let the sound of rain create a comforting cocoon around you. Each drop that falls is a whisper from the past, echoing stories that yearn to be heard. Tonight, we'll journey through chilling tales that will send shivers down your spine, yet wrap you in a warm blanket of relaxation. Imagine a flickering candle illuminating the pages of an old book, the soft crackle of thunder in the distance. With every word, the rain continues its gentle serenade, reminding you that even the scariest stories can have their place in the soothing rhythm of nature. In a small town named Willow Creek, nestled deep within a lush forest, stood an old cabin that had long been forgotten by time. Its wooden beams were weathered, the roof sagging under the weight of countless storms. This cabin had a story, a chilling tale of love and loss that lingered in the air like the faint scent of pine. One autumn evening, a couple named Tom and Sarah decided to escape the chaos of city life and spend a weekend in this secluded cabin. As they drove along the winding road, the rain began to fall, creating a soothing rhythm against the car's roof. The trees swayed gently, their leaves glistening with moisture, as if welcoming them to the embrace of nature. Upon arrival, the couple felt a sense of tranquility wash over them. They unpacked their belongings and settled into the cabin, lighting a fire in the old stone fireplace. The warmth enveloped them, contrasting with the chill in the air. However, as night descended and the rain intensified, an eerie atmosphere began to creep in. That evening, as they sat by the fire, Sarah shared a local legend she had heard. It was said that a woman had drowned in the creek nearby many years ago, her spirit forever wandering the woods in search of her lost love. Intrigued, Tom suggested they explore the area the next day, but Sarah hesitated. There was something unsettling about the way the wind howled through the trees, almost as if it carried the woman's sorrow. As the night deepened, the couple settled into their bedroom, the sound of rain drumming steadily against the roof. Just as they were about to drift off to sleep, a soft whisper echoed through the room. "Help me?" It was faint but unmistakable, sending chills down their spines. Tom and Sarah exchanged glances, unsure of what they had heard. The following morning, the rain had softened to a gentle patter. Curiosity piqued, they decided to follow the creek upstream. As they hiked, the lush greenery enveloped them, but the feeling of being watched lingered in the air. Suddenly, they stumbled upon an old, weathered gravestone, half buried in the earth. The name was barely legible, but it read Evelyn, the woman from the legend. "Do you think this is her grave?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. Tom nodded, feeling an inexplicable sadness wash over him. They knelt before the gravestone, and as they did, the rain began to fall again, a soft drizzle that seemed to weep with them. In that moment, they felt an overwhelming sense of loss, as if Evelyn's spirit was reaching out to them. That night, the couple returned to the cabin, determined to uncover more about Evelyn's story. They rummaged through the dusty old books that lined the shelves, discovering letters and photographs hidden between the pages. One letter revealed a love story that had blossomed between Evelyn and a man named Jack, who had promised to return to her after a long journey. Tragically, he never did. As they pieced together the fragments of her life, the rain outside transformed into a torrential downpour. Thunder cracked, echoing the tumult of emotions swirling within the cabin. They realized that Evelyn's spirit was bound to this place, her sorrow echoing through the rain-soaked nights. With the storm raging outside, the whispers grew louder, calling to Sarah and Tom. The couple knew they had to confront whatever lingered in the cabin. They gathered their courage and ventured to the attic, where they felt a strong presence. The air was thick, charged with a mix of fear and compassion. In the dim light, they found an old trunk filled with mementos from Evelyn's life. Among them was a beautiful locket, its surface tarnished but still holding the likeness of Jack. As Sarah held it up, the room filled with a gentle breeze, and the whispers transformed into a clear voice. "Find him," it urged, resonating with longing. Realizing that Evelyn was not merely a spirit to be feared, but a soul yearning for closure, Sarah felt a wave of empathy. "We'll help you find him," she promised, her heart aching for the woman who had waited so long. That night, The rain continued to pour, a steady backdrop to their mission. They reached out to the local historian, who revealed that Jack had died in a tragic accident shortly after his departure. He had never returned to Evelyn, and the sorrow had bound them both to the cabin. Tom and Sarah decided to honor their memory by holding a small ceremony by the creek. They returned to the grave, bringing flowers and the locket, and as they laid them at Evelyn's resting place, the rain began to lighten. "You are free now," Sarah whispered, feeling a sense of peace enveloping the area. As they stood in silence, a gentle breeze rustled through the trees, carrying with it a sense of relief. The storm had passed, and for the first time, the air felt lighter. Evelyn's whispers faded into the soft sound of rain, now a calming melody rather than a haunting call. The couple returned to the cabin, their hearts full of warmth. They realized that even in the face of fear, understanding and compassion could turn the darkest stories into moments of beauty. As they drifted off to sleep that night, the rain continued to serenade them, a gentle reminder that even the most chilling tales could lead to healing. The old cabin, once a place of sorrow, transformed into a sanctuary of love and remembrance, where the past could finally rest in peace. Now, we shift our focus to another story that echoes through the rain-soaked nights of a coastal town. Here, legends of shipwrecks and ghostly sailors haunt the shores, whispering their tales to those brave enough to listen. In this town, an old historian named Mr. Thompson often recounted the tragic fates of sailors lost at sea. One stormy evening, he invited a small group to his home, where the rain lashed against the windows, creating an ominous backdrop for his stories. Many have ventured into the depths of the ocean, but not all have returned. He began, his voice low and gravelly. Their spirits linger, waiting for the day they can find peace. The group listened intently as he shared accounts of ghostly apparitions seen during storms, their forms illuminated by flashes of lightning. Mr. Thompson spoke of a ship called the Seafarer, which had met a tragic end during a tempest. Its captain, a brave man named William, had vowed to protect his crew, but the waves proved too powerful. The ship sank, taking all aboard to the depths of the sea. That night, the rain pounded relentlessly, and the wind howled outside, echoing the tumultuous waves that had claimed the Seafarer. Suddenly, a loud crash resounded from the attic, causing the group to jump in their seats. Mr. Thompson chuckled softly. "The spirits are restless tonight." Undeterred, he continued, recounting his own encounter with the ghostly captain. "I was out on the pier during a storm when I saw a figure standing at the edge, staring into the dark waters. It was William, calling out to his lost crew." The group gasped, their imaginations ignited by the chilling tale. As the night wore on, the rain created a soothing rhythm, allowing the listeners to both fear and embrace the ghostly tales. With every crack of thunder, they felt a connection to the past, to the lives lost in the unforgiving sea. Mr. Thompson concluded his stories with a reminder that the spirits of the sailors would always watch over the town, their whispers carried by the wind and rain. As the gathering dispersed, the rain slowed to a gentle drizzle, leaving a sense of calm in its wake. Moving forward, we turn to a tale that lingers in the heart of a suburban neighborhood. An old, decrepit house loomed at the end of a quiet street, often shrouded in fog and rain. The local children whispered of the girl who was seen in the window, her sad eyes watching them play. One rainy afternoon, a brave girl named Lily gathered her friends for a dare. "Let's go check out the old house," she exclaimed, her heart racing with excitement and fear. They approached the house, the rain pouring down around them, creating a mystical atmosphere. As they peered through the grimy windows, they caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure. "Did you see that?" one friend squeaked, backing away in fright. But Lily was determined. They stepped inside, the door creaking ominously as they crossed the threshold. Inside, the air was thick with dust, and the smell of mildew filled their nostrils. The rain continued to fall, a rhythmic backdrop that seemed to echo the beating of their hearts. They moved cautiously, exploring the dark corners of the house, each creak of the floorboards sending chills up their spines. In the living room, they discovered a faded photograph of a girl who looked strikingly similar to the figure they had seen. Her name was Emily. A voice suddenly broke the silence, making them jump. An elderly woman stood in the doorway, her expression solemn. She lived here many years ago. She loved to watch the children play. The children listened intently as the woman recounted Emily's tragic story. She had been a joyful girl, full of life, but one stormy night, she had vanished without a trace. The townsfolk had searched, but she was never found. The rain had washed away all signs of her, leaving only whispers behind. Feeling a mix of fear and compassion, Lily and her friends decided to honor Emily's memory. They gathered flowers from the garden and laid them at the foot of the old house. "We remember you, Emily," Lily said softly, her voice carrying through the rain-soaked air. As they turned to leave, the rain began to lighten, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves around them. In that moment, they felt a sense of connection to the girl who had once watched from the window, her spirit finally at peace. Now, let's travel to a forgotten cemetery, where secrets from the past lie buried beneath layers of earth. It was an overgrown place, often shrouded in mist, but on a rainy evening, a group of friends ventured inside, seeking thrills but discovering something much deeper. As they walked among the gravestones, the rain created a melodic patter that resonated through the air. They shared stories of the lives that had been lived and lost, feeling a connection to the history that surrounded them. Suddenly, they heard soft whispers that seemed to call their names, echoing through the cemetery. "Did you hear that?" one friend asked, glancing nervously at the others. They huddled together, feeling both scared and fascinated. Drawn by an unseen force, they approached a weathered stone that bore the name Margaret. The whispers grew louder, as if the very earth was speaking to them. They knelt before the grave, and in that moment, they felt a rush of emotions: grief, longing, and a desire to understand the stories behind the names. One of the friends, Sarah, closed her eyes and whispered, "We honor you, Margaret. We remember you." As she spoke, the rain fell harder, a cleansing force that washed over them. They felt a weight lift, as if Margaret's spirit was finally being acknowledged. As the friends left the cemetery, they carried with them a sense of reverence for those who had come before. The rain continued to fall, a gentle reminder of the cycle of life and death, and the whispers of the past lingered in the air, guiding them forward. As our journey through these tales draws to a close, we find ourselves back in a peaceful room, the rain gently falling outside, inviting introspection. The stories we've shared tonight remind us of the connections we have with the past, the echoes of those who came before us, and the power of compassion to heal even the deepest wounds. With every story, we've explored the balance between fear and comfort, finding solace in the whispers of the rain. As you close your eyes and let the sound of rain carry you away, remember that each story is a thread woven into the fabric of our lives. Embrace the calm, for in the whispers of the rain, you are safe. The night may hold its shadows, but the warmth of understanding will guide you into a peaceful slumber, cradled by the melodies of the rain. As the last remnants of the storm faded into a gentle drizzle, a deep sense of serenity settled over the town. The rain, now a soothing companion, urged all who heard it to reflect on the lives woven into the fabric of their community. And so, our journey into the realm of echoes and whispers continues. In the heart of the town, there was an old bookstore that seemed to have a life of its own. The literary nook was filled with towering shelves and dimly lit corners, where stories waited to be discovered. The owner, Mrs. Abernathy, was known for her vast knowledge of local lore and was particularly fond of sharing the chilling tales hidden between the pages of dusty tomes. One rainy afternoon, a group of locals gathered in the bookstore for a storytelling session. The air was thick with the smell of old paper, and the rain drummed steadily against the windows. Mrs. Abernathy took her place in a large, cushioned chair, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Tonight," she announced, "I will share with you the tale of the Phantom Librarian." The group settled in, eager to hear the story. "Many years ago," she began, "a librarian named Eleanor devoted her life to this very shop. She was beloved by all, her passion for books infectious. But one stormy night, she vanished without a trace, leaving behind nothing but a whisper of her spirit. The rain intensified outside, mirroring the suspense building in the room. Some say Eleanor's spirit remains in the bookstore, still tending to her beloved books. It is said that if you listen closely, you can hear her footsteps and the soft rustling of pages in the dead of night. Mrs. Abernathy's voice lowered. One night, a brave young man named Samuel stayed late to study. As the clock struck midnight, he felt a chill sweep through the room. The lights flickered, and he heard a soft whisper, "Return what is borrowed." The group leaned in, eyes wide with curiosity. Terrified but intrigued, Samuel began to investigate. He discovered that many books had gone missing over the years, books that were cherished by the townsfolk but never returned. As the rain pounded against the windows, he felt the weight of Eleanor's sorrow and the urgency of her plea. The air grew tense as Mrs. Abernathy continued. With every missing book he found, he could feel Eleanor's spirit growing stronger. The rain fell harder outside, and with each drop, he sensed the presence of the librarian watching over him, guiding him to the next lost tome. The group listened intently, entranced by the unfolding drama. Samuel gathered the courage to confront the spirit. "Why do you linger here?" he called out into the darkness. The whispers intensified, swirling around him, urging him to finish what he had started. It was then that he realized the key to freeing Eleanor lay not in fear, but in compassion. A soft hush fell over the crowd as Mrs. Abernathy's voice softened. Samuel took it upon himself to gather the townsfolk, inviting them to return their borrowed books. The rain poured down in torrents that night, but it became a cleansing force, washing away the guilt of forgotten promises. One by one, the townspeople returned what they had borrowed, until finally, the shelves began to fill once more. The spirit of Eleanor grew lighter, her whispers turning to laughter. On the last night of the storm, as the final book was returned, she appeared before Samuel. A gentle figure bathed in the soft glow of the moonlight filtering through the windows. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice a sweet melody in the rain. "You have set me free." Mrs. Abernathy paused, allowing the weight of the story to settle. From that day on, the bookstore flourished. Samuel became the new keeper of the literary nook, honoring Eleanor's legacy by inviting children and adults alike to share stories and return borrowed treasures. As the storytelling session concluded, the rain began to fade to a gentle drizzle, and the townsfolk left the bookstore with a renewed sense of connection to their community and its history. Moving on from the stories shared in the bookstore, let's journey to the outskirts of town, where an ancient oak tree stood as a sentinel, guarding the tales of generations past. This tree was known as the Wish Tree, a place where locals came to make their dreams known. But with every wish, there was a price. One rainy evening, a curious young girl named Clara visited the tree. She had heard whispers of its magic and was drawn by the promise of fulfilled wishes. As the rain fell around her, she approached the tree, its gnarled branches stretching toward the sky like fingers yearning for connection. With a heart full of hope, Clara closed her eyes and whispered her wish. "I wish to be brave." The wind rustled the leaves, and for a moment, she felt a presence enveloping her. The rain intensified, drenching her in its cool embrace. When she opened her eyes, she saw a shimmering light at the base of the tree. "Who seeks bravery?" a voice echoed, soft and melodic. Startled, Clara glanced around but saw no one. "I do," she replied, her voice steady despite the tremor in her heart. "I wish to be brave enough to face my fears." The light grew brighter, and Clara felt a warmth radiate from within her. "Bravery comes at a cost," the voice warned. "You must confront what you fear the most." Clara nodded, determination filling her. "I'm ready." And with that, the light enveloped her, and she was transported to a realm of shadows where her fears took shape. The rain outside continued to fall, a steady reminder of the world she had left behind. As Clara faced her fears, each one more daunting than the last, she felt the strength of the oak tree pulsing through her. With each challenge she conquered, the whispers of doubt faded, replaced by a newfound courage that blossomed within her. Finally, after what felt like hours, Clara stood before the last of her fears, a monstrous shadow that loomed large and threatening. Heart racing, she took a deep breath and stepped forward, ready to confront it. As she did, the rain began to fall harder, creating a rhythm that matched her heartbeat. "Who are you to frighten me?" she called out, her voice echoing through the darkness. To her surprise, the shadow began to dissipate, revealing itself as nothing more than a reflection of her own insecurities. "You have the power to overcome," the voice whispered. "Embrace your light." With that realization, Clara summoned all her courage and stepped into the light. The darkness melted away, and she found herself back at the base of the wish tree, the rain gently falling around her. "You have faced your fears," the voice said softly, now a comforting presence. "Bravery is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to confront it." Clara smiled, knowing she had grown stronger, not just in spirit, but in heart. As she walked away from the tree, the rain transformed from a storm into a soft mist, wrapping her in a blanket of serenity. With each step, she felt lighter, more at peace with herself and the world around her. Returning home, Clara reflected on her experience, realizing that bravery was a journey, one she would carry with her wherever she went. The rain had become a reminder that every drop held a story, a lesson learned, and a strength gained. As we venture further into the realm of whispers and shadows, let's explore the story of a group of friends who sought thrills in a haunted old theater. The abandoned building had long been the subject of local legends, claiming it was home to the spirits of actors who had never left the stage. On a particularly stormy night, 5 friends, Alex, Jenna, Mark, Lily, and Tom, decided to spend the night in the theater. The rain pounded against the roof, creating an eerie ambience as they entered the decaying structure. Their flashlights flickered, illuminating the faded grandeur of the once vibrant stage. "Are you guys sure about this?" Jenna asked, her voice tinged with apprehension. "What if we really see something?" "Come on, it's just a story," Mark replied, trying to sound brave. But even he felt a shiver run down his spine as the wind howled outside, echoing through the empty halls. They set up their sleeping bags in the center of the theater, the faded seats surrounding them like ghostly spectators. As they settled in, the rain continued its rhythmic assault, creating a backdrop that heightened the tension in the air. "Let's tell ghost stories," Alex suggested, eager to lighten the mood. As they shared their tales, the shadows danced across the walls, and the sound of the rain seemed to join in, echoing the fear and excitement in their hearts. But as the night deepened, strange occurrences began. Whispers floated through the air, indistinct yet unmistakable, causing the friends to exchange nervous glances. "Did you hear that?" Lily whispered, her eyes wide with fear. Suddenly, a soft melody drifted from the stage, the sound of an old piano playing a haunting tune. The friends turned to see the piano, which had long been covered in dust, moving as if someone were playing it. "What's happening?" Tom stammered, clutching his flashlight tightly. They approached the stage, drawn by the sound. The rain intensified outside, the wind howling as if urging them to turn back. As they reached the piano, the music stopped, and the air grew thick with tension. "We should leave," Jenna said, her voice trembling. But before they could move, a shadow flitted across the stage, and a figure appeared, a ghostly apparition of a woman in a flowing dress. "Help me," she whispered, her voice echoing in the stillness. The friends froze, fear gripping them. "I was meant to perform, but I never left the stage." With that, the spirit began to fade, and the friends realized that she was trapped, unable to fulfill her final performance. Gathering their courage, they approached her. "What can we do to help?" Alex asked, his voice steady despite the fear coursing through him. "Remember me?" she pleaded, her form flickering in and out. "Tell my story. Let the world know I existed." The friends nodded, understanding the weight of her request. As the rain poured outside, They promised to honor her memory and share her tale with others. The moment they made their vow, the spirit smiled, and the storm began to subside, the thunder growing distant. The friends spent the rest of the night recounting the stories of those who had performed in the theater, each tale a tribute to the passion and artistry that had once filled the stage. With each story shared, the weight of sorrow lifted, and the air grew lighter. By dawn, the rain had ceased, and a gentle light filtered through the theater windows. The spirit of the woman had vanished, but her presence lingered in the air, a reminder of the importance of remembering those who came before. As the friends left the theater, they felt a sense of fulfillment and connection, not just to each other, but to the history that surrounded them. They knew that their journey was far from over. They would carry the whispers of the past with them, honoring the lives intertwined with their own. Our next tale takes us to a desolate farmhouse, surrounded by fields that seemed to stretch on forever. The old home had seen better days, and it was rumored to be haunted by the family that once lived there. Their tragic story was etched into the very walls of the house, waiting to be uncovered. One rainy evening, a brave group of explorers set out to investigate the farmhouse. They arrived as the rain began to fall, creating a somber atmosphere that enveloped the area. Armed with flashlights and a spirit of adventure, they stepped inside, the door creaking ominously. As they wandered through the rooms, they uncovered remnants of the family's life, faded photographs, worn furniture, and old toys scattered about. The air felt thick with history, and the rain outside only added to the haunting ambience. In the living room, they stumbled upon an old diary. As one of the explorers began to read aloud, the story unfolded. A tale of love, loss, and betrayal. The family had once been happy, but a tragic event had shattered their lives, leaving a lingering sadness that echoed through the halls. With each turn of the page, the whispers grew louder, and the rain intensified, creating a cacophony of sound that echoed the turmoil of the family's past. "This is more than just a story," one explorer remarked, a chill running down their spine. "It feels like they're trying to communicate with us." Determined to understand the family's plight, they continued to explore, piecing together fragments of their lives. As they reached the final entry in the diary, the rain outside began to pour, and a voice broke the silence, echoing through the halls. "Help us, set us free." The explorers felt a surge of empathy wash over them. They understood that the family's spirit was trapped within the walls of the farmhouse, bound by their unresolved grief. "We need to honor their memory," one of them suggested, and the others agreed. They gathered in a circle, holding hands as they recited the family's story, acknowledging their pain and offering their condolences. As they spoke, the rain outside began to lighten, and the atmosphere shifted, the air growing warmer. With each word, they felt the weight of the family's sorrow lifting, the whispers turning into soft sighs of gratitude. "Thank you," a voice echoed softly, as if carried on the wind. "You have set us free." As the explorers left the farmhouse, the rain had transformed into a gentle mist, and a sense of peace enveloped the area. They knew they had honored the family's memory, and in doing so had connected with something greater than themselves. Now, let's journey to a nearby lake, where an old boathouse stood, weathered by the elements and time. It was said that the spirits of fishermen who had drowned in the lake lingered near the water's edge, forever tied to the boats they once sailed. One evening, a group of friends decided to camp by the lake, drawn by the tales of the boathouse. The rain began to fall as they set up their tents, the sound of water lapping against the shore creating a tranquil yet haunting atmosphere. As darkness fell, they gathered around the campfire, sharing stories of their own experiences with the supernatural. The rain pattered softly on the roof of the boathouse, adding an eerie melody to their tales. Suddenly, a light flickered from the boathouse, and a shadowy figure appeared at the door. "Is anyone there?" it called, its voice barely above a whisper. The friends exchanged nervous glances, their hearts racing. Cautiously, they approached the boathouse, the rain falling heavier with each step. As they entered, they found a man standing there, his eyes filled with sorrow. "I am searching for my boat," he said, his voice breaking. "I lost it in the storm." The friends listened intently as he recounted his story, how he had ventured out into the storm to fish, only to be caught in a tempest that took him and his boat beneath the surface. "I cannot leave until I find it," he lamented, his spirit tethered to the lake. Feeling a surge of compassion, the friends vowed to help him. They gathered flashlights and set out onto the water, the rain drenching them as they searched for the lost vessel. The lake glistened eerily under the moonlight, the sound of the rain creating a haunting lullaby. As they searched, the whispers of the water grew louder, guiding them to a spot where the waves churned restlessly. Suddenly, they spotted a boat submerged beneath the surface, its remnants barely visible. "There it is!" one friend shouted, excitement and urgency propelling them forward. With teamwork and determination, they retrieved the remnants of the boat, bringing it back to the shore. The spirit of the fisherman looked on with gratitude as they placed the remnants at the water's edge. "You have freed me," he said, tears glistening in his eyes. "I can finally rest." As he vanished into the night, the rain softened to a gentle drizzle, and the lake became still. The friends felt a profound sense of connection to the man they had helped, realizing that they had not only aided a lost soul, but also honored the lives of all who had ventured out into the storms. As dawn broke, they marveled at the tranquility that surrounded them. The rain had washed away their fears, leaving behind a sense of peace and fulfillment. The whispers of the lake lingered, reminding them of the bond they shared with those who came before. With every story we've shared, we've explored the delicate dance between fear and comfort, loss and connection. The rain, a constant presence, has guided us through each tale, reminding us that even in darkness, there is always a flicker of light. In the heart of the town, as the sun began to rise, a new day dawned, filled with possibilities and stories yet to be told. The echoes of the past blended with the present, creating a symphony of life that resonated through the streets. As you lay down to rest, let the sound of rain be your lullaby, a gentle reminder that the stories we carry, both joyous and sorrowful, are threads woven into the tapestry of our existence. Embrace the whispers of the night, for they hold the key to understanding our own journey. In the end, remember that every drop of rain carries a story, a lesson learned, and a connection made. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let the soothing sound of the rain guide you into a peaceful slumber. For in the realm of dreams, you may find the echoes of those who came before, wrapping you in their warmth and love as you drift away.